Hey everybody, I am so excited. Tonight we have Lisa. They're in Hong Kong. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's been a long time since we've had the opportunity to talk with Lisa and learn from her. So this is an amazing opportunity, and you guys are in for a treat. For those of you that don't know, Lisa and Curtis are they're seven-figure earners. They've been doing this for years and years and years, and they are sought after by they're sought after by many teams, and we are very blessed, and I am very grateful to have them with us and for us to be able to learn from them. And so Lisa's going to share some really good stuff tonight, and I think it's going to go right along with kind of what we've been talking about and working towards. So I'm really excited about what she's going to share with us. So take it away, Lisa.
Thanks. For those of you that are watching live, I have turned on the Q&A app if you're watching on the Google Plus page. And for those of you watching on tape delay, if you have questions and you get them off to Romy or suggestions about what you'd like to hear about in future coaching, training, webinar, hangouts, whatever we're calling these, you can do that and we'll try to address it. I am in Hong Kong on an extended stay, and for Curtis and I, it's very exciting. There's a saying that you can't go home again, and it's not true, because 10 years ago, we came over to Hong Kong to kind of oversee the development of a company that had come over here for 2 weeks. Actually, we came for 2 weeks to deal with a problem, and 2 weeks turned into 5 years where we alternated between Hong Kong and the States, or I should say Asia and the States, being based in Hong Kong. And it was a glorious 5 years. And when that was over, we went back to the States and continued to do a lot of business in Asia, because we sort of became Asian experts in expanding network marketing to this part of the world, because we were really the first non-Amway Nu Skin company at that time. The company you're all with is that big today, but back then there were like 10 very large companies and everybody else. And we were really the first company that wasn't one of those huge ones back then, the company we were with, to go global with a seamless comp plan and a seamless product line. So we were not, I don't know that we were experts, we were kind of the only ones that had done it and made all the failures to have the success, which makes you an instant expert. And really never thought I'd have the opportunity to do this again, but always had fun and developed a lot of other skills and had a wonderful, glorious time in the intervening 7 years. And here I am back sort of doing a little bit of the same thing, but Star Trekking again, and technology's changed, so now I can be all over the world and with you no matter where I am. And it makes you really excited about being able to operate in the space that we're in, the wonderful, wacky world of network marketing in today's world. Because I think no matter when you have opportunity, you can always say it's never been as good as it is. And when you're as old as I am, as Romy pointed out with her years and years and years that we've been doing this, you really get to see how fortunate we are today with things like Hangouts that for free can put us in everybody's living room all over the world. And we think back to the olden days, you know, when the covered wagons were going west and they had the kerosene lamps, and a conference call cost you $500 for 1 hour to talk to, 500 people in your own country. And the idea of people from other countries calling in where it would have cost them $6 a minute was unheard of. And you go, wow, what can't you do today? But then you realize that as much as technology changes, human nature never does. And the challenges that hold people back remain the same no matter what technology makes available to them. So it gets simpler, and your ability to reach more people more efficiently is awesome and mind-boggling as you look at the timeline. But it doesn't get any easier for all of those of us that are doing it. And sometimes when you're sitting at home and you're just getting started, or you're sitting at home and you've been doing it for 20 years, and people talk about it's so easy because of Facebook and it's so easy because of technology, you sit back and go, wow, I don't get that. It's not so easy. And I just want to let you know that I've been doing this for years and years and years and years, like 27 of them to be exact. And there are certain things that I guess I would say are easy today because after 27 years, they just become second nature habit. But I still don't find it easy. I do find it exciting and exhilarating and wonderful. And I want to share with you what I think makes that all possible and where a lot of people miss it. We always talk about you have to set your goals and you have to know what you want and you have to write down your goals and set a goal and vote. And all that's true. But I think if you look around at successful people in life, of which you are one, you may not have everything you want in network marketing, and you may not have everything you want in school, and you may not have everything you want in whatever different disciplines and areas that you're pursuing. And I certainly hope that you don't. I hope that nobody has everything they want in every area of their life because that's really sounds very boring. And it also sounds like you're playing very small because everyone every day should have the next mountain that they are looking at to climb because if not, what's going to be exciting about the day to push you forward? So you don't ever want to be done. And I hope that you're not. But I think that if you look at things that you're successful at or that you've been successful at or things that you have in your life that you wanted and now you have, so you don't have to want them anymore because you have the satisfaction of getting, you'll realize that you saw yourself having it and that you pictured it. Because we don't get what we want in life, we get what we picture and we get what we feel makes sense. Most of where we're at in life is a result of us believing it's the way it's supposed to be. You know, we don't really acknowledge that, but we feel comfortable in our surroundings, even if we aren't happy. There's a difference between being happy with the way things are and being comfortable with the way things are. You can have a sister that you fight with all the time. You've never had a good, you have a loving relationship because you love your sister, but you've never had that Leave It to Beaver, Ozzie and Harriet, watch on television, gee, I can't believe how those sisters get along relationship because you're constantly fighting. You've been fighting for 30 years, and on some level you wish it was different, and you look at these television characters and go, gosh, wouldn't that be grand? But you're comfortable with the relationship because in your mind, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way that you relate, and you see that that's how it is. And it's because you see it that way and because you believe that's the way it's supposed to be, pretty much that's probably always the way it's going to be. And when things change, it's because our picture of how it's supposed to be has changed. And if you look at your life, whenever the picture doesn't match of what's going on, doesn't match how we feel it's supposed to be, we tend to unconsciously even, before we start to consciously force it to change, even unconsciously our life will start to change to match our picture of how life is supposed to be so that we can be comfortable with the way life is. So if you'll write down, I don't get what I want, I get what I picture, you have now the beginning of what it takes to be successful. Because, or to get what you want, so to speak. What do we really want? Because yes, a daily method of operation, yes, the plan, the goals, all of those things are necessary to achieving. But the vision drives it all. Let me, break it down to, or reduce it to the ridiculous, for example, because it's also how you'll feel about it. Example, and I always go back to cooking because everybody understands recipes and there's recipes for everything in life, but when you say recipe, people automatically, their mind goes to the kitchen. If you don't really cook, or even if you do, and I were to call Romy and say, Romy, we're having this charity event and we need you to cook the following, and we give her a list of things that she's really never cooked before, and we and you have to do it and blah, 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 and she gets off the phone, she's going to do it, but already it's a pressure-filled situation. It's the pressure to perform based on pleasing other people and what they will think. So she knows how to do it I am sorry. The weirdest thing. All of a sudden it said your PC has encountered a problem and needs to restart. So I apologize. Am I back now?
You're back. You're back.
And you okay. So when I left it, where I left it was you were cooking under the pressure to perform for this event. So many people approach their network marketing business the same way. They get in and they get the recipe. You know, somebody will give them the recipe because there's always a recipe and how to do it, and it's all relatively very simple. You know, get in, like get your product, set up your auto ship, get familiar with your back office, make your list, all very simple things to do. But we approach it with I don't know if I'm any good at this, and what will people think of me? And I have to have this pressure to perform. Now, that's Romy taking this menu because somebody called her and told her, you know, she got herself into that mental state. Let's contrast that with Romy getting up one day and saying, gee, I want to give a dinner party. I want to give a dinner party, and I can see it. It's going to be at my house. I'm going to have my great friends over. We're all going to hang out. You know, I'm going to put it in the dining room. Am I still here? Okay, because I'm not seeing myself in the little box. Romy, am I still here?
You're here.
Okay, because I'm not. Oh, there I am. Okay. You know, it's going to be in the dining room, and I'm going to use these dishes, and we're going to have. I'm going to make this, and I'm going to make that, and I'm going to make this, and we're going to talk about this, and this is the music I'm going to play, and it's going to be so much fun, and the weather is going to be great, so we'll be able to open the doors to the patio, and the menu is the exact same menu that she was given by somebody when they called and got her into this charity event. But the difference is she's excited, and she can see this party that she planned in her head, exactly what it's going to look like. And she knows it, exactly what it's supposed to be. So that before she goes into the kitchen, she's just making the picture come true that she can already see in her head. Same menu, same cooking, different attitude completely. Because once she approaches with excitement and the knowledge of the finished result, knows exactly what the outcome is supposed to be, and it's not that she's not prepared for adjustment. And it's not that if something goes a little bit according to plan that she's going to be upset because she's got a great attitude about it. It's that she knows what it's supposed to be, and that keeps it on track. And your business and life is very much the same way. If you give a picture of what you want it to look like, absolute specificity, then it becomes very easy to say, well, what does it take? You know, I want to give this great party. When should it be? Oh, I'll pick it on, let's get out a calendar. I'll pick it on this date. What time do I want the party to be? Great. How many people do I want to invite? How many people do I want? Do I want an intimate gathering or a big party? I want an intimate gathering. Well, how many people will that be? What people would I like, do I want to invite? What kind of a group do I want? What kind of food do I want to serve? What do I want the atmosphere to be? And it's all a result. You start asking questions, and every question that you answer will bring another question. The more questions that you ask to drill down, the more specific that you can become with the questions, the better a plan you can put together, the better your picture becomes to achieving what you want. And your business is the same way. The better the questions that you ask, the more articulate the vision or the picture becomes, the easier it is to achieve the vision. And in network marketing, it's very simple because the recipe of how to get somewhere has already been written. Everybody pretty much does the same thing, and it's all a function of numbers. But if it's all abstract, if you're just doing it to do it to see what comes out, if you're just doing it to do it to see what the outcome is, you know, and you can do that too. You know, you might get up one day and say, gee, I wonder, you know, I'd like to learn to cook. I think I'll make lasagna. I wonder what that would be like. And you can go make lasagna, and maybe you'll get a okay result and say, I'm going to try it again and get a better result and try it a third time, and now you've got a great lasagna. But if that's all you were thinking about, yeah, it's great to have accomplished making the perfect lasagna, but it doesn't make you a chef, and what did you do it for? So that someday if anybody ever calls, you can make lasagna, but now you're done. It's not part of a bigger picture. Where does it take you? And how many people do it just for the sake of doing it? You know, because you're bored. You don't want to approach a business with, I'll try it. I'll go make this list and I'll call a few people and I'll see what happens. Because how would you even judge that? Even if you see what happens, is that good? Is that bad? Does it matter if it's not part of a bigger picture? If it doesn't, it's not a stepping stone to what you're building, to what comes next. So the key, once you've articulated the picture, what you do by asking the next question. Don't ask a lot of questions. That can be overwhelming. But if you start with sort of a big picture, and you ask the next question and answer it, and then the next question, and the next question, and the next question, to make it very, very, very specific so that you can really see it, then everything becomes easy. So you work it backward and then forward. And that really makes all the other things you learn and all the other things that we talk about make sense. Everything we have, we get what we picture. Everything in life is about the way we see it. It's not, and people don't get this because they really don't ask the next question. If somebody gets up and says, I want to be a millionaire, I want to drive a fancy, and I think any industry, many times that we indirectly cause this for people. Because the big story, the person who lives in the big house on the beach with 5 cars, it's necessary to tell that story because it proves that it can be done. It's something to aspire to and to inspire others with. However, you have to remember the story behind the story, because that required a change in vision, a change in a belief. And if a person has spent their entire life living in an apartment, driving a used car, and there's nothing wrong with that, and everybody around them has done the same, saying, I want $1 million house and I want to have 5 cars is a pipe dream because they cannot picture themselves doing it. They don't understand the meaning of it. But they can picture themselves having more time with their kids. They can picture themselves maybe having a car that doesn't break down. They can picture themselves being able to, maybe afford better daycare or giving up a second job for a second source of income that puts them home a little bit more. And that's a first goal. And they can picture that happening in a reasonable enough time. And then it's easy to then take a plan and work it to achieve something that is reasonable. I've met many people today that are multimillionaires because of this wonderful space that we were in. And oddly enough, their first list of things that got them there was not all the things all the $1 million toys and things, lifestyle that they wanted. They didn't start knowing that they wanted those things. They started with a very clear picture of things they didn't want anymore. They knew there were things in their lives they wanted to eliminate. That was the picture. They pictured a life without somebody telling them when they had to show up and if they could take a day off to go see their kids' championship softball game, and when they should chew their food because we take lunch at 12 o'clock even if you're not hungry. That's what they were able to picture, and that's what got them going. And those are the questions they asked, and it's whatever moves you forward. So if you think about that and you understand that what we picture and what we can envision is what we can create, or if we are stuck with a picture of how it is supposed to be that interferes with our picture of how it could be, that is what holds us back. So we need to adjust the picture of what we want and enough questions that get us to have a picture that we are in, that we see ourselves in, that instinctively we move toward unconsciously, and then we consciously decide and plan for and implement steps for and take all of the other things that people are teaching us that can reduce time, that can save time. Because the most important things you can do are not those things that will save you money, it's those things that can save you time. The very smartest and most successful people in the world will always trade money to save time. They will always go to people who have done it before them and give them money if they can get some time, if they can save time by benefiting from their experience. I do it all the time. I can trade a little bit of my money and a little bit of my time to get the benefit of somebody else who traded a lot of their money and a lot of their time to, hold on one sec. I do not know what is causing that ringing, and I apologize. That was my next hangout, making sure I didn't forget about it. But I'm all yours now. So anyway, Romy, does this make any sense?
It's totally making sense.
This is what I love about the informality of it all. I'm like in my pajamas because I went to bed at 4 a.m. and well, I put a sweater on, but the bottom of me is in pajamas, and I got people calling everywhere. And for those of you that are watching, I hope you'll forgive me, but this is network marketing as it really happens. You know, and one thing you'll learn about me is I don't put on airs and I don't do photo shoots and all of that. I'm me, having fun, and you can go out and tell people you don't have to become something that you're not, because this goofy, crazy girl who doesn't put on makeup to get on camera and, you know, is scattered and nuts, she can do it. I can. So if she can do it, anybody can. Thoughts, Romy? Questions? Does anybody have questions? Oh, I forgot to re-enable the question and answer app when I came back on after that technical snafu. So if anybody's got any questions, you can go ahead and type them up. Romy, thoughts, questions?
Yeah, I love all of that, and it really fits into where I've been even lately, and so I can envision things, but lately for some reason, I don't know what happened, it's just maybe just like a mind shift, I guess, but I am seeing things so clear that in the past I've never really seen things in color. I can kind of see it in my head, but I haven't really been able to really visualize it in color, and that visualization is happening, and it's causing great expectation and excitement for what's to come, and so I love all of that. It's right on time for me.
You know, it's interesting because the best example for me is, you know, when I got started in network marketing, I was making about $200,000 a year in the real world, or in the traditional world. So I got to $200,000 a year fairly quickly. It took me like 2 years, which today I guess is slow, but back then was pretty reasonable, I thought. And the reason was I had no problem picturing myself making $200,000 a year. I had done that. And I had no problem, you know, 2 years was reasonable to me. I approached it with that attitude because I came from a business background. I thought that was great. You know, I was like 4 years of college to get a $50,000 a year job full-time, building something that could pay you $200,000 a year part-time. Part-time being defined as not giving up what you were currently doing, because I was very serious all the time working, but still not the only thing I was doing. But I was there for a long time. And then 10 years later, I jumped 5 times that. I didn't get 5 times better. I didn't learn something like, oh my gosh, now I know all these secrets that I didn't learn in the first 10 years so I could make 5 times as much money. I just didn't see myself making that kind of money. I wanted to, certainly I wanted to. And I saw other people doing it, and now I look back and say they didn't have any knowledge that I didn't have at that point. They didn't have any skills that I didn't have at my point, but they did have a bigger picture in their head, and they saw themselves doing something that I didn't see because I had never done it before. And then I started asking questions that changed the pictures. Well, what do they have that I don't have? What do they know that I don't know? And the same thing happened with international business. You know, back then, there was not many people doing international. The world was not like it was today. There was no Facebook and all these things that made you international. You had to go travel internationally, which is what I eventually did. You know, I started in the United States with people that were from overseas, but eventually I did a lot of international travel. But I was like, I never had international business because I didn't see myself traveling to other countries. And when you think about it, it's getting on a plane. But oh my gosh, they speak far away and they speak different languages there. And whatever my picture was, I didn't see myself doing it. The unknown. And one day I started saying, well, you know, they have these big international businesses. What do they know that I don't know? What's so different about business over there than here? And really nothing. People are the same everywhere. They may speak a different language, but they want the same things for their families that we want for ours. The world is small. And all that really changed was the questions I asked Because your mind finds answers for the questions you ask. So if you're asking questions like, why am I no good at this? Your mind will go look for answers to prove you're no good. If you're asking for questions like, how can I get better at this? Your mind looks for questions about how you can get better, for answers to that. So I started asking questions like, what do they have that I don't have? What do they know that I don't know? What does it really take to do this? What am I missing? And as I asked those questions, I got answers that said, well, why aren't you doing this? Can come up with a good reason. But that's all that changed. And those simple shifts in questions changed the picture. And as I started to see myself in the picture, and every major change that propelled me or anybody that I know forward was a result of questions that just made the whole picture change. Because you do have to develop skills. There's nobody better at teaching them than my good friend Eric Worre. But the repetition of the skills is what makes you better. And once you have the skills are applicable anywhere. You may have to learn, a few things or say, well, okay, I don't speak the language. Duh, get somebody to translate. That's pretty simple. But the information's going to be the same. And yet, until you can change the picture, that seems like such a big thing. I look at where you're sitting. You're sitting in this beautiful cabin. And I remember when you talked about, I'd love to have a cabin someday, and then I remembered to, I'm going to have a cabin, from a wish to I will, to I'm looking for a cabin, to at least I got my cabin. But the cabin became a reality for you when it went from I'd like to have one to I'm going to. The picture changed because there was no major shift in your business or anything else that suddenly was like, gee, I'm here, I can have a cabin now. It just, you saw yourself having it, and then you did. I'm sitting in Hong Kong. If you would have told me 15 years ago that I'd be on the other side of the world doing business, comfortable doing it, I would have said, are you nuts? But once I said, yeah, I'm going to do that, not I can't, not I want to, not I will, not someday, but yeah, I'm going to go do that, here I am. And I think that when people understand that, when all of you understand that, you're at the end of the month. You got like 5 or 6 days. What can you do in 6 days? What have you already sowed the seeds for with everything that you've done? If you go back and review, that can help you do that. Where do you see yourselves in a week? If you did everything you could do, where would you be in a week? And can you see yourself there? What is everything that you could do? Who are all the people that you've talked to that you haven't followed up with just to see where they're at? Because we're not in a business of trying to get people to convince people to do anything they don't want to do, but we're in a business of exposing people and always staying in touch with them, always staying connected with them, always building a relationship, always finding out where they're at. How many people have you talked to at some point that you got into a relationship with that you don't know at this moment where they're at, that now sharing with, asking them questions, helping them specifically to help them drill down, telling them new stories, giving them information in response to the questions that they might be in a different place and you're unaware of it, that you need to get back in touch with. What's that picture? How many people can you serve? How many people might need what you've got that you're not in touch with? How does that change the picture? Do you see yourself changing the world? Do you see yourself being of service to all the people who really are longing to have a more fulfilled, more purpose-driven life, longing to belong to something that is greater, that makes them feel better about themselves, that makes them excited to get up in the morning like you are because you found this? Just food for thought.
Yeah, I think that sometimes it's like the change the world saying. When I first, long time ago, even before network marketing, with our ministry to the homeless, it was that idea of making change. And then when I moved into this and used that saying of I'm going to change the world. And for a little bit of time for me, that seemed really
Okay.
yeah, like
Me
who am
too.
I? Who
But
am I
I
that
believe. Oh, I thought it was hokey as anything till I got it.
Mhm.
But I will tell you, I firmly believe that there are people today that are living under trees because of seeds we have planted over the years. And we are planting seeds every single day. And one of my, actually, I think my favorite saying to sum up to really put it into perspective is a Chinese proverb that says, you know, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is today. How many trees are you planting today? How many trees are you going to plant tomorrow? And how many of the seeds that you planted over the years are you continuing to water every day to make sure that those trees grow? How many seeds do you have out there that over the next 5 days you just need to go back and do nothing other than water them? You don't need to pull them out of the ground, force them to bend to the sun. They'll do that on their own in their own good time. But just go back and make sure they're getting water.
Yeah, that was when I got that I actually I got that when we had the homeless ministry, because Mark and I really struggled with, we're not seeing results. We are, we're not doing any good here, and what are we doing wrong? And finally we got that realization that we were planting seeds. And we may not see the results of some of those seeds, but it is just a matter of watering and nurturing, and eventually it just comes along. So it made it easy to do it with this, is that you just love people and just plant the seeds and continue to nurture and water, and they'll just sprout and grow.
If you think about it, there's a saying we always told, you're told whether you're working in nonprofit or business or whatever it is, but there's a saying that always comes to my head. Each one to reach one, each one should reach one to teach one to reach one. And a lot of people think that means, oh, okay, so I just have to talk to one person, right? Because that's my one. No, each one to reach one. How many people do you have to talk to reach one? I don't know. I don't know. But I know that if I keep talking to people, the odds are that I've got to reach at least one, right? And if reaching one is good, reaching two's got to be better, and so on and such forth. And I know that over time, about 20 to 30% of the people that we talk to and share our business with, if we just do it right, not terrible and not over the top and not, well, you should blah, 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 blah. Just average. 20 to 30% of the people will at least say okay and sign up and do, maybe do nothing. And of those, 40% will do something. 2 or 3 of those will do more. But that means that 2 to 300, just like baseball. 200 is 300 is outstanding. And once you put in the hours and you get good at it, you develop the skill, you're going to hit between 2 and 300, just like in professional baseball, no matter how good you are or how bad you are. They're just through persistence. So I don't ever worry about it, because people are not numbers, but it is a numbers game. My job isn't to get people. My job is to get the information out and talk with people, love people, show people their options, be interested in people, and let people make their own decisions. Help people to see themselves differently, see their situations differently than the way they currently see them, so that they can have a different situation, but not convince them to do anything. And when people get that, it gets very easy. It gets very simple to do the work, and results come easy because the results are not up to us. And with that, unless anybody's got any questions, or you do, I think it's a good place to say, I can't wait to see you next week.
Yeah, it was perfect. Loved it.
Well, other than phone calls ringing and getting thrown off the internet, but that's life.
You know what?
Um,
That makes it good for me, because when I first started doing this, I was like freaking out because it was so new to me, and that fear of not doing it right and having everything be just right. I love it when it's not perfect, because
you know
it
why you have that fear? Because you actually have a realistic expectation that you can pull something off perfectly. I believe that you have to know your strengths and weaknesses. Once you accept that you're a techno idiot like I did, if you even you have no expectations of anything, and getting through something without calamity is in itself an accomplishment. So I rejoice in my stupidity and delight in the fact that we actually had an event that was only marred by getting thrown off the internet and things ringing that I don't know how to turn off. That's a good day in Lisa Land technology.
Well, the way I figure it is, if it's okay for you, it's okay for me, and it's just good done. So I'm happy with it.
And I agree. Because, I figure if you're not afraid to let people see you're stupid, then they're not afraid to come be stupid with you. And here's the one thing that I have learned. If you want to be good at anything, just accept the fact that you're going to suck for a while. And if it's me and technology, a really, really long while.
I think you're awesome, and I appreciate
I think
you.
you're awesome too.
So
Thanks for sharing. I know everybody's time is valuable, and have a great rest of the Tuesday evening back there. I'm going to go have a Wednesday day over here, and I really appreciate you tuning in. And if there's anything I can help you with, or anything you want Chris and I to share, reach out to Romy, reach out to me on Facebook. I respond to all my messages. Have a super day, and use the next 5 days to finish your month strong. Get your picture in line. Live the life you deserve. You deserve the best. And go change the world. Plant seeds.
thanks for joining us, guys. Thank you very much, Lisa.
Anytime.
All right.